Good morning, everyone. Here's your Mormon news update for February 3rd, 2025. Last week, I read the official statement that the church published regarding immigrants. It can be found on the church's website. What wasn't published there is the letter that was sent to general authorities, Area 70s, and stake presidents serving in the United States, detailing some of the church's thoughts on the same cause. Let's look at parts of that in an article from MSN.com. Church President Russell M. Nelson and his two counselors said they are concerned about the complex challenges and hardships now faced by members who are undocumented immigrants. The trio then offered more specific guidelines for navigating new and changing federal rules, including President Donald Trump's threat of mass deportation. In helping undocumented members, local leaders may use fast offering funds to provide temporary assistance for essential needs like food, clothing, and medical care, the guidelines stated. For those who aren't familiar, fast offering funds come from the members in each individual ward or branch or congregation. Once a month, members are asked to go 24 hours without eating any food, and then they take the money they would have spent on that food and they donate it to the church, and that's called fast offering funds. They may refer families to community resources that address their immigration issues or help prepare them for possible separation in cases where family members may be deported. These leaders, though, should not provide legal advice, testify in legal proceedings, or sponsor immigration efforts, the First Presidency advised. If bishops have a reason to believe a member is not authorized to work, they should avoid potential conflicts with federal law by avoiding or limiting housing assistance, not transporting the person outside the local community, and not referring the person for employment. The First Presidency also ruled out chapels as potential sanctuaries for immigrants lacking permanent legal status. Church buildings and resources, the guidelines said, should not be used to help shield individuals from law enforcement. For further questions, local bishops and stake presidents were told to reach out to the church's Office of General Counsel advice via a hotline. The legal advice is as straightforward as it gets, said Charles Cook, a Latter-day Saint immigration attorney in Atlanta, and is completely consistent with what I understood prior guidance to be. Given the number of foreign language Latter-day Saint congregations in the U.S., Cook said, it is easy to believe there are hundreds of thousands of church members who are undocumented. For the church, he said, taking care of immigrants is not an insignificant problem. I don't personally know a lot about sanctuary and how that works, and I don't know how religious protections interact with immigration status, but I do know that the church can fight in court for things that they think are important, and that they have endless monetary resources. Now let's go to the church's newsroom to see what Elder Uchtdorf and his wife have been up to. Elder Dieter F. Uchtdorf of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and his wife, Harriet, both urged young adults Sunday to trust in God and remain faithful to the gospel of Jesus Christ. Wow, that was quite a lengthy title for Uchtdorf. Elder Dieter F. Uchtdorf of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and his wife, Harriet. They couldn't even say and his wife, Sister Harriet Uchtdorf? Wow, okay. Back to the article. Addressing an audience of young Latter-day Saints gathered in the Marriott Center in Provo, Utah, and around the world on Sunday, February 2nd, the Uchtdorfs drew from their life experiences to offer encouragement and inspired counsel regarding agency and personal revelation. Elder Uchtdorf organized his comments around 5 principles he hopes young adults will remember. First, know that God's answers to your most profound questions may take a little time, and they may come in ways you hadn't expected. God's answers are of eternal value. They are worth the wait. In a time when Google can provide quick answers to most questions, our most personal, important, and far-reaching questions require more patience. Heavenly answers, eternal answers, are priceless. Receiving these answers often requires sacrifice, work, and repetition, he taught. If I was going to sum up that paragraph, I would say, don't go to Google and look up quick, factual answers to your church history questions. Instead, spend years reading apologetic material that doesn't add up. Second, don't get overwhelmed as you walk the path of discipleship. Just do the best you can with the small things, and the big things will fall into place. Elder Uchtdorf encouraged listeners to continue doing the small and simple things, like intentionally praying daily, studying the scriptures, making Come Follow Me and guidelines in For the Strength of Youth part of a routine that includes living the word of wisdom, attending church, and paying tithes and offerings. He counseled young adults to do these things even when they don't want to, even when sacrifice is required, because sacrifice is sacred and brings blessings. Those to-do list things kept me trapped in the church for years. I was so busy trying to check the boxes every day that I didn't have the time or the money for the things that I eventually found that helped me heal and leave. If I had stopped paying my 10% earlier, I likely could have afforded therapy that I desperately needed. If I had stopped spending so much time reading the Book of Mormon and conference talks, I could have spent more time finding and reading books to actually help me process and show up in the world. I also don't like it when top leaders in the church put such strong emphasis on doing things when you don't want to do them. Now, I understand in life there are times when we have to do things we don't want to do. Do I like scrubbing toilets? Not really, but I do it because I want my house to be clean. But the way that church leaders used it, it caused me to ignore my inner feelings and my intuition and do things that I felt bad about doing, that I felt were hurting me spiritually and emotionally, which is a big difference than cleaning a toilet that you don't want to clean, right? Let's see what he says next. Third, have a little faith. Believe that you're important to God, that he sees what you cannot, and that he will lead you on the right path. Trust him. Fourth, don't let discouraging voices dissuade you from your journey of faith. Remember, you don't answer to your critics. You answer to your Father in heaven. His values count. Elder Uchtdorf cautioned young adults against the contradictory, discouraging, and ridiculing voices coming from the world and amplified on social media. This generation isn't the only one whose faith has been challenged or mocked, he reminded. You might as well accept that once you make the commitment to follow the Savior, the residents of the great and spacious building will disapprove, quite vocally at times, he said. They may even attempt to bully and shame you, but remember that you do not answer to them, you answer to God. I try really hard to stay away from faithful spaces. I have absolutely no desire to go into pro-LDS social media accounts and debate people or heckle or try to lead people out of the church. When I was a believing member, that kind of thing just made me feel even more zeal for my beliefs. Sometimes when people put pro-LDS comments on my videos, I will respond, but even then it's rare because I don't see the point. If I look back on my own journey out of the church, I can see that that sort of thing didn't help me. When I was ready to read things from non-church approved sources, I was so glad they existed, but I had to be ready and seek them out myself. While that's not everyone's story, it does explain why I function the way I do in this space, why I offer up this information so that it'll be there when people are ready to listen. Then he says, fifth, seek the Lord's guidance, and when he says, it mattereth not, make the best decision you can based on the truths you know, then be faithful. Elder Uchtdorf explained that in many cases the decisions we make at the time may not be as important as the actions that follow those decisions. For example, a perfect marriage match is not as important as working to become a perfect match, he explained. And a vocational choice doesn't matter as much as doing one's best in finding ways to glorify God and bless others. Don't despair if you make some decisions that are less than perfect, he said. If you're faithful to Jesus Christ, see his atoning sacrifice as a gift of love and repentance as the way to accept it, you can be assured of happy endings. Wow. He maybe should have used a different phrase. I also really don't like that advice. I can see that he's trying to say, don't worry about being perfect, but marrying the first person you date for more than a week and then thinking that God will make that a great marriage is not a good idea. And that happens in Mormonism a lot. And your vocational choices do matter. It's important to try out lots of vocations and see what you like and feel passionate about. And if you get into a career that you don't like, it's okay to start over and try something else. Now let's go to a post from a Facebook group called the Uplift Community of Faith. It says, let's help our friend. I am an employed seminary teacher and am experiencing a significant faith crisis. First off, this person is not a volunteer seminary teacher, but one that is paid by the church to teach release time seminary to high school age students. I'm struggling with all the negativity and harsh commentary on the internet about our church. What's bothering me most is I see where everybody is coming from. I don't understand why, if this really were the true church, there are so many things about our theology and history, polygamy, race in the priesthood, anachronisms in the Book of Mormon, etc., that make it hard for outsiders to believe in. Some thoughts I have are, wow, when X critic puts it that way, I do feel kind of dumb for believing and teaching this. I know that there are great apologetic rebuttals for what critics say, but I can't help the unsettling feeling that I have. I feel somewhat hypocritical teaching my high school students about the Savior when my own faith is struggling, because I'm supposed to be the source of spiritual strength the youth look to when they have questions. There are times when I think it would be better to find a different career. But we followed promptings to invest time and money in graduate programs that specialized in theology, so I feel like I don't have anywhere else to go. Kinda like I'm stuck here, regardless of how my testimony is doing. I have had beautiful experiences in the church and have felt what I believe to be the Spirit testify to me of the truthfulness of Christ. And I love being with the youth every day and would never do anything to harm my students' faith or belief in the church. But I am having some cognitive dissonance between these spiritual experiences and what other people are saying about our church. Any counsel or thoughts would be appreciated. By the time I was going to seminary, my family had moved to Utah, so I got to do release time seminary, where one of my high school classes was seminary, and I would leave the high school building, walk across the street to the seminary building for, third or fourth period or whatever it was, and then I would walk back to the high school after. Posts like this make me look back at my seminary teachers then and wonder if any of them had these same struggles. I really feel for this person. Their finances are built on being a seminary teacher, and if they leave that profession, where can they go? Now let's go to BuzzFeed, where it says, we asked our BuzzFeed audience if there was anything they needed to get off their chest that they won't share with their parents, and we're happy we could provide this space. Sometimes things can feel lighter once you say them out loud. To respect their privacy, all submissions have been kept anonymous, and then here is one of the submissions. I want so badly to leave the Mormon Church. I grew up in it. My family has been a part of it for generations. I'm going to one of the universities, and even one of my best friends is a member. But I'm a lesbian, and the leaders of this church have time and time again proven that I'm nothing more than a number who pays them money once a month. If I didn't already live with my best friend, who's very devout, I would have left already. If my family was any different, I would have left. If I'd been raised in any other religion, there's no chance in hell that I ever would have joined. This church destroyed the one opportunity I had to marry the woman I love. The first time I really fell in love with someone and wanted to marry them, we had to both say no because of this damn church and the damn leaders who are old and biased. I have to sit and watch my best friend, who told me she might have married me if things had been different, date men and fall in love while I'm stuck being told, you can be gay, but if you want to stay in the church that hates you, you can never date or speak of it. I hate it so much. I just want to be free. I just want to be in love. I don't even know how to respond to that. I'm just so glad this person is getting their feelings out there. Reading that really broke my heart. Now I want to read just a brief snippet from a post in Mothers of Large Latter-day Saint Families discussion group on Facebook. The whole post didn't pique my interest, but this section did because they said, my branch is being made a ward next week, not because our numbers have increased, we've actually gotten smaller, but because the church apparently lifted the numbers requirement 2 years ago that used to be the rule. I'm pretty sure the branch president is also being released. It's been a really rocky past 5 years with him as branch president. He's really controlling and manipulative, and we've had a lot of turnover in leadership callings because he's so difficult to work with. Several families have gone inactive in the past few years, and morale in general has been really low. As one sister said, no one cares to come listen to him anymore, ramble on, passive-aggressively at the pulpit about how horrible we all are. I just thought it was interesting that their branch that is shrinking in size is being made into a ward. This is one of the ways that the church is trying to appear like it's growing when it's really not. And now let's get a little update about Fairview, Texas. With a message from Fairview United, it says, calling all green shirts. On January 27, 2025, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints announced its intent to sue the town of Fairview for rejecting their 2024 conditional use application to build a temple that violates local zoning regulations. We need your support. Fairview United's official statement to the media. Consistent with the Fairview Town Council's unanimous vote on August 6, 2024, to deny, without prejudice, the conditional use permit applied for by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to build a temple on Stacy Road, and the non-binding memorandum of settlement between the town of Fairview and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints signed on November 18, 2024, Fairview United fully supports a redesigned temple so long as the roof height does not exceed 42 feet 2 inches, the steeple height does not exceed 68 feet 3 inches, and Fairview's Code of Ordinances are followed. It is Fairview United's sincere hope that this matter will be settled amicably and without further delay. Next step, your presence is needed. Please wear green and join us at the Town Council regular meeting tomorrow, February 4th, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. to stand up for Fairview and protect our community's zoning laws. I will put the link to the Watch Ring Central live broadcast in the show notes. For more information, visit Fairview United's website at fairviewunited.net. And last of today, let's finish with this quote that says, "Abusers don't abuse in front of everyone. They often act loving, helpful, gregarious, charming, and attentive in front of everyone else. That's how they convince others you're crazy when you open up about their abuse behind closed doors." And that's your update for today, folks. I absolutely hope you have the day that you deserve.